Today we're going to talk about shadow tips. I'm going to be working in Photoshop, and this is just going to be a brief introduction. I will have other videos that go more in depth about specific shadowing for strings and ribbons and leaves, greenery, things like that. So this is just kind of a basic one. So first we're going to start by opening up a paper. Let's go to my paper file. And then we're going to place on there an element. Let's just do one of these cards here. Okay, so very flat without any shadow attached to it. So I'm going to rasterize this layer. Okay, to get to our layer palette, to do our drop shadow, we double click on that layer and it pulls up this layer style menu. There are a lot of things on this menu and we'll go into different parts of it at different times. But for drop shadows, it's here at the very bottom and you just click it. And you could even leave it just at that, click OK and be done. It's a decent shadow, but it's definitely not my favorite shadow. So let's say that you click on it and it's there and then you decide, oh, I want to make a few changes to it. All you need to do is double click on where it says drop shadow and it opens it right back up. So when the drop shadow is checked and also highlighted, how it's blue, then this has changed to not just our layer menu, but now it is our drop shadow menu. Multiply is showing the blend, and a lot of times if you really want to get a very realistic shadow, you can change this color from black to whatever your background paper is. And you can even make it a little darker, but that way it gives it more of the brown in there instead of always being a harsh black. Click OK. And then we have the angle that the light is hitting it at. Default is 120. I think a lot of people do the shadows in -45 degrees. And that kind of gets it as if the light were coming from the left, I guess kind of from the right, with the shadow being on the left. So we're going to go with that. That's my particular favorite view of it, I guess, or how I like it. But play around with it, find what you like, and then use it consistently. You wouldn't want, of the 10 elements you shadow on your page, to have them all coming, the light coming from all different directions. You want it to be as realistic as possible. So this angle, just go with the same, keep it consistent for all of the ones you do. Now, distance. This is referring to the distance between the paper and what's underneath it. So obviously for this card, there's not going to be a lot of distance, and certainly nothing like that. So we're just going to scale that way back, maybe to about a 9 or even a 10. And the spread is, well, let's do the distance a little more just so we can show with this. So the spread kind of adds to the shadow. So it softens it a little and kind of spreads it out, so to speak, as if the light were kind of spreading it a little. And then the size is how far that hull goes. So obviously I'm doing really crazy extreme things. So we're going to go back with our distance at about 10. And our spread we're going to do about 10, which looks really crazy when you have size all the way up to 213. And we're bringing the size all the way down. We might even change the spread to about 6. Size, and the size kind of just blurs it. It takes off the harshness but you don't want it too much because then it blurs too much. So if you didn't do it any size, as you can see the brown, it's just kind of a harsh, it looks very fake and unrealistic. But if you add maybe like a 21, change this to about a 4, this to about an 8, maybe even a 6. There you go. You get the shadow. And that's pretty much, those are the only things you really need to watch. And the opacity you can change to make it darker or lighter. You can soften up that shadow however you like it. And you can even change multiply to linear burn, and that just gives even more of that brown in there and lower a little bit more of the opacity. Anyway, these are really fun to play with. You can also find some that are already done for you, so that all you have to do is click on them. But that's it. Then you click OK, and you have your shadow, and you're ready to do the next item.